Greetings to all of you. Program BBM, subject Principles of Management, Unit number 5, Controlling, and today's topic is Techniques of Control. The contents in this today's session are as follows: Techniques of Control, in that modern techniques, management audit, return on investment, responsibility accounting, PERT and CPM, balanced scorecard, economic value added, market value added. So in the previous episode we discussed about the traditional techniques of control. Today we shall discuss about the modern techniques of control. In the modern techniques, the first one is the management audit. So the traditional techniques which are discussed in the previous episode are not judging the quality of the management. The quality of management ultimately makes the difference between the success and failure of an organization. So management audit is an overall and scientific appraisal of the quality of the management. It is a systematic and in-depth search of the effectiveness and efficiency of management. It locates deficiencies in the performance of the management functions. Thus, management audit may be defined as a comprehensive and critical view of the performance of the management team of an organization. There are 10 areas of the management audit which are as follows: organization structure, executive appraisal, functioning of the management board, soundness of earnings, economic functioning, service to stockholders, research and development, fiscal policy, production efficiency, and sales vigor. The next technique is control of overall performance. So most of the control techniques are designed to regulate a specific aspects like costs or profits. So such piecemeal control measures are not sufficient for the business enterprises. So control of overall performance is required to get the total effectiveness of the organization. Such control evaluates the management's total efforts. Moreover, control of overall performance helps to overcome weaknesses of partial control measures, and the control of overall performance is all the more important in the case of large enterprises which have several autonomous units located in different parts of the country. Piecemeal control controls only a partial or part of the organization, whereas control of overall performance controls the overall organization. The next technique is return on investment. So return on investment is a useful technique of controlling overall performance, and it is also called as return on capital employed. So the essence of this technique is that profit is considered in relation to the invested capital. Rate of return is calculated by dividing net profits with the total investment. In order to avoid the distorting effect of fluctuations in operating assets and liabilities, grant assets are taken as investment. Next technique is responsibility accounting. So responsibility accounting implies a system of accounting whereby the performance of various people is judged by assessing how far they have achieved the predetermined targets set for the divisions or the departments or the sections for which they are responsible. Each person is responsible for his area of operation. Costs are assigned to responsibility centers rather than to products. So, in responsibility accounting, costs are assigned to responsibility centers, not for the products. So, a responsibility center is an organizational unit. It may be a division or department or section headed by a responsible person. The head of the center is responsible for achieving the target set for his center. So there are in the responsibility accounting centers are there. Each center will be having a head and he is responsible for targets which are set for that center should be achieved. The costs incurred in the responsibility center are divided into two categories. One is the controllable costs and another one is the uncontrollable costs. Costs are accumulated and reported according to their classification. So there are three types of responsibility centers. The one is cost center, second one is the profit center, and third one is the investment center. The another technique is network techniques. So those are called as a PERT and CPM. In the network technique, network analysis is being widely used as a tool of management, planning and control. So under network analysis, a project is broken into a number of small activities and those small activities can be arranged in a logical sequence. The sequence in which the various activities should be performed and the time limit for each activity are decided. A network diagram is then drawn up to present the interdependence and interrelations between all the operations involved in a project. So in the network analysis, a project is divided into a number of smaller activities and these smaller activities are set in a sequence. The sequence of various activities which should be performed will be having a time limit, and a diagram is drawn up that will be called as a network diagram, and which are interrelated and interdependence of the activities are shown. There are prominently used techniques are two. One is the program evaluation and review technique. Another one is the critical path method. So these are the two techniques which are used in the network analysis. Next one is the balanced scorecard. So the balanced scorecard concept was introduced by Robert Culpon and David Norton in 1992. The balanced scorecard identifies and links the key performance measures. It may be financial and non-financial. To provide a comprehensive view of the business. There are different perspectives Each perspectives of the balanced scorecard includes objectives, measures of both those objectives, targeted values of those measures, and initiatives needed to achieve the targets. There are four perspectives of the balanced scorecard, so which are financial perspective, customers perspective, internal process perspective, and the last one is learning and growth perspective. So the next technique of management is economic value added. So the economic value added, the term is coined by Joel Stern, and it is a registered trademark of Stern Stewart Company. So economic value added means any surplus generated from the operating activities over and above the cost of capital. It is the excess of profit of a firm after charging cost of capital. It is the corporate surplus that may be shared by employees, management, and shareholders. Economic value added is based on the simple idea that an enterprise needs to earn more than cost of capital. Economic value added is regarded as a comprehensive measure of performance. This measure can be applied to each business segment within a company to find out EVA contribution of each segment of the company. Another technique is market value added. It is also called as MVA. So market value added measures stock market's estimate of the net present value of a company's past and expected capital investment projects. It should be differentiated from shareholders value and EVA. Shareholder value is the present value of an anticipated future stream of cash flow from the business plus the value of the company if it is liquidated. Whereas EVA is value added to the shareholders by generating operating profit in excess of the cost of capital employed in a business. It is the residual income after charging the cost of capital provided by shareholders and lenders. Market value added is the difference between the current market value of a firm and the capital contributed by the investors. So if the MBA is positive, that is market value added is positive, the firm has a added value. If it is negative, the firm has destroyed value. The amount of value added needs to be greater than the firm's investors could have achieved by investing the market portfolio. So these are the some of the modern techniques which are used for the controlling of organization. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you.